What up, YouTube? Today's episode is about Kevin Perez, the man who gunned down Christopher Thompson in Malvern in cold blood. How it look?
On Tuesday, January 24th, 2012 at 12:46 p.m., Toronto police responded to a shooting call at 31 Tapscott Road at the Cut Creator Barber Shop. Police located a man suffering from obvious gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene.
Two Scarborough men from the Malvern area, Kevin and Chris Perez, murdered a popular community barber, Christopher Thompson. Christopher worked at the Malvern Town Centre and was a father of two children at the time, were 16 and 9 on January 24th, 2012. Kevin is the older brother of the Perez family and had a long history of violence, pleaded guilty to a lesser offense of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole in 20 years. And part of Kevin's deal of admitting guilt, his brother Chris Perez, originally charged with first-degree murder, was able to walk free and have the charge withdrawn. But before we talk about Christopher Thompson being gunned down, let's go back to 2004. September 18th, 2004, Kevin Perez took upon himself when a security bouncer at a nightclub refused to let him in. Kevin tried to walk in the club with an open bottle of liquor, so with Kevin being denied entry, he pulled out a sawn-off shotgun and opened fire. The bouncer was wounded pretty severely, and because of that act, Kevin was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Fast forward to 2012, Kevin Perez, only being free for 1 year after his release, puts himself in a perilous, ironic situation that he had a sawn-off shotgun once again. Before Christopher Thompson was murdered in cold blood, he had bought stolen property from Kevin and his friends multiple times. Homicide Detective Leslie Dunkley and Sergeant Nielsen at first thought it was a retaliation from the Galloway boys, especially how that there is a long-time deadly beef between the two rival turfs, G-Way and the Malvern crew in Scarborough. Detective told the Crown that he wasn't aware if Christopher knew the goods were stolen. But on January 20th, 2012, Christopher had bought about 3 laptops that were stolen from Centennial College and agreed to pay $300. He paid half at first, which was $150 when he received the computers, and would pay the other half on January 23rd, a couple of days later. But Thompson complained and refused to pay or buy the laptops because it appeared they were damaged or wasn't working properly. He then told Kevin and his partner to meet at a Scarborough repair shop to see if they could get it fixed. Detectives were able to catch raw footage of Christopher Thompson meeting Kevin and his partners at the repair shop, which the tape was later brought in as evidence and was a link to Kevin's arrest. However, the tech from the repair shop was unable to get the laptops fixed, so therefore Christopher returned the computers back to Perez, which Kevin took as disrespect. The following day, Christopher was cutting hair at Malvern Town Centre, where he'd been working for 16 years. Kevin Perez got one of his partners to drive him to the barber shop where Thompson was. That partner or associate later told detective that he was intimidated by Perez because of Perez's criminal history. The mall footage shows Kevin Perez dressed in all black in a ski mask and dropped a duffel bag on the ground to remove a shotgun. Then he ran in the barber shop. Kevin Perez initially wanted to intimidate and embarrass Christopher Thompson, but he lost control. Thompson, who was completely blindsided cutting a customer hair and talking on the phone, didn't see Kevin approaching with the shotgun. The other barbers in the shop ran for cover thinking it was a robbery, and even Thompson's client jumped out the way. Perez opened fire at the well-known popular barber at close range, hitting him in the upper mid-back. Thompson then tried to flee, begging Kevin to stop shooting, but only to see Kevin firing 2 more times at him, hitting him at the back of the head, upper back, buttocks, and his torso, killing him as Christopher begs for his life. Detective Sergeant Dan Nielsen said surveillance camera captured the killer exiting the shop, running through a busy parking lot. Kevin and his brother Chris Perez were caught in a raid conducted by officers in Toronto, Orillia, and Ottawa, and seized firearms, ammunition, stolen property, and cocaine. Detective Nielsen also noted there was a lot of help from the public. During the court proceedings, the Crown dropped the first-degree murder charge to second-degree murder, where Kevin Perez pleaded guilty to. While on the stand, Kevin Perez could be heard saying quietly, and I quote, "I just want to apologize to the family of Christopher Thompson, even though it doesn't mean much." Moments after that, Christopher's brother got up in court and yelled out in court during the process, and I quote, "Keep your apology," was heard after Kevin made that statement. The Crown finished with Perez cornering the barber at the salon because he was enraged over a refused payment on a defect computer. During the sentencing, the Ontario Superior Court Justice Ian Nordheimer handed Kevin Perez life with no hope of parole for 20 years, but it was a joint recommendation from the defense. On September 26, 2012, Malvern OG triggerman Kevin Perez and inmate Stanton David took inmates and held them hostage at the Millhaven Institution. It was to get correctional officers to bring Kevin's little brother Chris Perez, who was at the time being held in segregation at the Toronto East Detention. While Kevin and David held the hostages, he can be heard, I quote, "I've got a lifetime bid coming, so I don't care and I'll kill this guy. It will be concurrent anyways." After Kevin followed up with, "Come on, you motherfuckers. I just need one of you COs," shouted Kevin Perez, who has a nickname Kingpin that is tatted on his arm. Meanwhile, David was holding inmate Thomas Exner hostage and they cut his arm. David held a broker mirror and used it as a weapon to another inmate's neck. After the standoff ended with not much injuries, David and another inmate, Alpha Omega Water, later confessed to the roles they played in the hostile hostage standoff situation, that they both received 6 months and 60 days respectively. During the commotion, the COs brought Kevin's brother up to see him, as both exchanged words as it would be maybe their last time they would see each other in the same presence before Kevin would receive the life sentence and his brother Chris Perez would walk free. Before I end this video, let's have a moment for Christopher Thompson.
Thanks for watching. Comment below and don't forget to like and subscribe.